My name is Margaret and I am 67 years old. Life has been a long and winding road. I married young, had children, and spent decades with my husband George for 42 years. I was his wife, his confidant and his partner. We shared everything, our dreams, our successes, our struggles. But when George passed away 6 years ago, I found myself completely lost. The home we had built together felt empty, the world outside seemed unfamiliar, and I was left with nothing but memories and silence. The first few years after George's death were difficult. I stayed inside more than should have. I spent my days tending tummy garden and reading books. I never had the time to read before my children of course tried to cheer me up, telling me to get out there and experience life again, to meet new people, to do things I had always dreamed of, but I was content with my routine. I told myself that I had lived a full life, and there was no need to seek out anything more. Love, I thought, was a thing of the past. I had my children, my friends, and my hobbies. What more could I need? That all changed on autumn afternoon when I was walking to market, as I always did. The leaves had turned golden and the air was crispened. I was simply enjoying the peace that came with a quiet walk. As I passed a cafe on the corner of the street, I noticed an older man sitting outside reading the newspaper. His posture was relaxed and he had a slight smile on his face. He looked up as I passed by, and our eyes met. I wasn't sure why, but there was something about him that caught my attention. He had a kind face, one that seemed both familiar and comforting. I had never seen him before. He gave me a small wave which caught me off guard, but I smiled back. Excuse me, he said, I don't suppose you could recommend some good from the menu, could you? A little surprised at the question. I'd recommend the carrot cake, I said, but that's just me. He chuckled, and then, to my shock, he invited me to sit with him for a while. I'm Richard, he said, and we started talking. It was nothing special at first, just small talk, but as we spoke something stirred within me. I hadn't had a conversation like that in years. It wasn't about reminiscing or polite chatter, it was simply genuine, like we had known each other for a long time. Richard told me he was 72, a widower, and had lived in the neighborhood for decades. He spoke about his late wife who had passed away a few years earlier and how had found solace in the simple things in life: gardening, reading, and spending time with his family. His calmness, his warmth, and his open-hearted nature were contagious. I found myself listening, gently feeling like I was reconnecting with a part of myself I had lost touch with. We agreed to meet again, and just like that, a friendship blossomed. Over the next few weeks we met almost every day, first for coffee, then for walks around the park, and then for dinners at his home. Richard never once pressured me, and I never once expected anything more than a pleasant friendship, but deep down I realized I was looking forward to our conversations more than anything. Richard made me laugh in a way I hadn't laughed in years. His jokes, his kind gestures, his gentle way of speaking, it all made me feel something I had almost forgotten: joy. Still, I was hesitant. I was 67, was it too old to be starting something? Nytod. I really fall in love again, at my age? I wrestled with these thoughts, doubting myself, and pushing Richard a bit. He never gave up, he didn't try to rush me or ask for more than I was ready to give. He simply showed up every day with patience, with kindness, and with a smile that made my heart flutter in a way I hadn't experienced in decades. Then on evening we were sitting on his porch, watching the sunset. The sky was painted with hues of orange and pink, and the world seemed to pause for a moment. Richard turned to me, his eyes soft and full of warmth. Margaret, he said, I'm so glad I found you. I thought I was too old for love too, but now I know that love doesn't care about age. It's about theme. We shared. Tears welled up in my eyes as I realized that everything I had been feeling for the past few weeks wasn't just companionship. It was love I hadn't expected. It hadn't wanted it at first, but it had found me anyway. I thought I was too old for love, but Richard showed me that love can find you at any stage in life. It doesn't matter how old you are, it matters what's in your heart. Over the next few months, Richard and I grew even closer. We still spent our days talking, laughing, and enjoying each other's company, but now there was something deeper between us, an understanding, a connection. A love that I never thought was possible at my age. Our love wasn't about grand gestures or extravagant declarations, it was in the quiet moments we shared and the simple joy of being together. Now I no longer look at the world through the lens of Sumian, who has missed her chance at love. I look at it with hope and excitement for the future, because love doesn't have an expiration date. It doesn't matter if you're 67, 77, or 97. If you're open to it, love can find you again, just as it found me with